Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Sure, yeah.
Alright, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Part 2. Joining me today is the one and only Real Manos.
Hey, folks.
Hi. So today we're continuing our fan film reviews, and we're doing the flavor of the week. We're doing the big hotness right now, and we're talking about this relatively new, it's only a couple weeks old at this point, relatively new fan film of Uncharted starring Nathan Fillion. It's kind of crazy that there's an Uncharted fan film starring a, I wouldn't say A-list, but certainly like a pretty popular actor, especially in the nerd community. He's got successful television shows and stuff. It's kind of cool that happened. So Manos is one of those olds, and he doesn't have a ton of experience with the newer video games.
Yes, if it's not Donkey Kong, it's crap.
Yeah, exactly. But, do you know anything about Uncharted? Just relatively speaking?
Alright, these are the things I know. I know, one, it's a video game. And two, it's like a Tomb Raider Indiana Jones thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're pretty much dead on.
Yeah, the end. That's all I know.
Yeah. So, I really didn't expect you to know too much going into this. And so that makes me really curious of just generally what you thought, not only of the fan film itself, but the way that the world and characters are presented, and what your impression of that is.
I thought they did a fabulous job, kind of creating a what feels like a snippet of an episode of the Uncharted TV series or a film, in a fairly believable way. And it's I was watching this and I was thinking about how video game films don't have the best reputation for the last 30 years. And I think this one actually is just trying to make a film and a story, and try and create some kind of grounding of characters. And I feel like we're getting there. I think the more cinematic and story driven the video games become, I think some filmmaker is going to be more successful at kind of cracking the code at let's tell a story first, and let's do characters first, because unfortunately the problem with video game characters is backstory is just kind of told to you in a lot of ways, or the cutscenes are, for instance, like that. But those things you can skip. And the goal first is to win at whatever objective you have. So I think that has been a problem with the translation for a lot of filmmakers and writers. And this does character. I'm pretty much sure who Nathan Fillion's character is in this. We see Uncharted, strapped to his chair, and he's still kind of got a hold of the situation, and he's still kind of full of himself. He's still 3 steps ahead. I loved all the acting. I think even the side characters and the villain were quite captivating. And also, we got that point where we'll probably talk about this at length, but it's a film, and then we get to the video game part.
Yeah.
And it's still cinematic. It still doesn't get in the way of the action.
Yeah. I really like. I am a bit of a Naughty Dog fanboy, and that's the studio that released Uncharted. I generally fell off the map with video games after a while. Like, I own Uncharted 3. It's still in the cellophane. I've literally never unwrapped it to play it. Uncharted 4 is on PS4, so I don't own one of those. But, like, I grew up on Naughty Dog, Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter is by far my favorite video game franchise. And so I'll say that Naughty Dog's always had a very narrative-focused kind of storytelling in their games. The Last of Us won a bunch of awards, and that's another Naughty Dog game that came out after Uncharted. But really, from the first Uncharted game, everyone was like, okay, when are we getting the movie? Because it was so cinematic in the way it was explained, and it's cool that they directly reference the games in this, so it's not like this is its own kind of separate thing. It's set in the same universe as the games, because they reference things that happen in the first and second games, like, oh, he discovered El Dorado and Shambhala. And I'm like, holy shit, that's so cool that they threw in those references, because yeah, that's like the Nathan Drake thing, is he goes out searching for hidden treasure, and then he kind of stumbles onto this big mythic legend kind of thing, like the El Dorado, the Golden City, and then it's the classic treasure hunter thing, just like in Indiana Jones, where he's going head to head with some rich asshole who can hire 1 billion guys with shotguns, and he's got to take them all out and get across the island and solve the mystery, and then deal with the weird supernatural element that no one was actually expecting.
Yeah.
And so this is very much like the opening chapter in an Uncharted game. Uncharted 2 has one of the most cinematic openings ever, where Nathan Drake is in a train. He wakes up in a train that, like, the window's busted, and he's just sitting in this seat, and he's bleeding all over himself, and he, like, looks down, and he goes, oh, that's my blood, that's a lot of my blood. And then something just, like, falls toward his face, and he realizes that the train he's in, the car he's in the train is just, like, hanging off the side of a cliff. And he's bruised up and bloody and beaten, and he's got to, like, climb out of the fucking train before it falls off the cliff. And it's super cinematic as hell, and that's the first level in the damn game. And so Uncharted, this Uncharted fan film, that's exactly how an Uncharted movie could open up. Of just Nathan Drake's been kidnapped and is being tortured. And, like, you get that whole thing up until he's about to pick the lock on the handcuffs. And that's when they would give you control of the character and expect you to figure out how to fight your way out of the situation. Just put it on you to get done and get to the next objective, which would be explained to you about, oh, the letters. It's exactly the kind of thing right out of an Uncharted game. And it flows so well because of how much Uncharted is focused on narrative to begin with. So I really, really did appreciate those. Like, it's reverential to the source material, but it's not shackled by it, which is really, really unique for video game movies. They're either, just a completely different thing, or they're just trying so hard to be like, remember the game, that it's just completely alienating and unenjoyable because it's not as good as the game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all that stuff really, really works.
You really have to be careful when you remind people. You have to deliver on your product instead of just reminding people like, oh, you could be doing something better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And, like, what I like about the turn to focus on the way the game plays is it makes it a big cinematic moment. It not only does the camera panning behind him in a big, like, almost Bayham-esque way, but it widens the aspect ratio of the film, which is just, you don't see that any, like, in major motion pictures and kind of stuff, and it just made it feel so perfect, and it played exactly like an Uncharted game, where it's just slightly over the shoulder when he's aiming and shooting. The camera will track on him and lock in a certain way when he's hiding behind cover, When something happens, an action element happens in the background, the camera will go off Nathan and focus on that. All that stuff is just, it's ripped right out of the games, but it works so well cinematically that it doesn't become distracting. I thought that was all really, really cool.
I agree, and it was definitely wise in the pace of how they started that scene, and the fact that it really did feel naturally. It came into play, really, because I've seen things stop. I've seen a couple of video game stuff, films where things just stop. So they can remind you of the fucking thing. Like, yeah, hey, we're here because of the fucking thing. You don't have to do it for us.
The one that was like really, really known for that was Doom with The Rock.
Oh yeah.
There's a scene where it goes all first person. It's like, it's a little too much, guys. Yeah, so that's all really cool, the way that it all comes together to be like the video game, but it's brief enough that it doesn't feel overbearing. And what I like about it is it's done in such a way, it's such a stylized way that you could just, that's just how the gun style action scenes are going to be in the Uncharted movie, is we're just going to go into this mode for some of those big action scenes. And it would work perfectly. What did you think about the general plot, in that they're doing the whole getting captured to get access to a thing kind of thing?
I am kind of a sucker for that kind of thing. I really did like that quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it always works with me. Every time I've seen that a couple of times, I've actually kind of written that and stuff I've done. And I don't know, it just always appeals to me that, our hero still has one up on the bad guys. I don't know, and it was like it was nicely done, because you really do. It starts opening with that situation where he's stuck. And by the way, it's a nice reveal too. In case you were unaware that it was Nathan Fillion in the film, it's a nice big reveal.
Yeah, it'd be a better reveal if they didn't put Nathan Fillion down in the title of the YouTube video.
I suppose so, but hey, you got to get butts and seats.
Yeah, I guess. So like that was all really cool. You're right. I'm so a sucker for that plot turn too. Everyone uses it now, and it just hasn't gotten old for me. Like logically, like how the hell would he know he's brought to where he needs to be? And if he already stole something once, why wouldn't he just go and steal something else? Always cracks me up. Like, oh, I plan to get kidnapped. But instead of taking me to where I wanted to go, they just took me to, like, a field? Well, shit, that didn't work out.
Well, I'm going to do that now.
Yeah?
I'm going to do that in a story.
Oh, thank God.
Now that you say that, that's a great idea. I'll do that.
Oh, I'm excited. Let me know. Put a little, like, plotted by Ian Harrington, just little tiny print down in the corner.
Maybe not plotted, maybe more of a thanks.
Yeah.
With special thanks.
I'll take it.
To that guy I used to know before I became big.
Like, that's the moment that got you big, and I'm just, like, on the street, like, drunk and bitter. Oh, man. Yeah, so, like, that whole side of it's whatever. It's just the conceit, but it's fun. I like the way that they tie it in with the old explorer kind of thing. Because the first game was Sir Francis Drake, who is like the famous explorer that went missing kind of thing. And then the second game was Marco Polo. I don't know about the third or the fourth, but like they tie it in with that whole dynamic of the famous explorer who went missing and or had something happen. And so to tie it into Magellan, I thought was really cool. It just works. It so feels like an Uncharted thing, and like, you know, it's interesting because again they've been trying to make an Uncharted movie since the first game, which is like 2006, 2007, and it's never gotten off the ground for one reason or another. And so I can't help but feel like Nathan Fillion's kind of getting up there in years a little bit, and he's like, listen, I really want to do this. Let's see if we can get that whole Deadpool test footage thing to work out for us. It really feels like this is almost an unofficial pitch kind of thing, right?
I agree. That definitely feels like that. Because you're right, he is... he's not getting any younger, and hey, you know what? This shit could take forever to develop, to the point where, that's happened lots of times before, where something is being developed for a star, and then they get too old to do it. So, yeah.
I mean, Nathan Fillion looks pretty good and everything. It's just...
Well, what if it takes another 10 years or so?
Exactly, and you don't want that. Interestingly, that seems to be kind of the thing for video games. Video games have really bad movies, but pretty decent-ass fan films. I don't know if you ever watched Mortal Kombat Reborn, that fan film from, probably almost 10 years ago by now.
Oh, wow. I have not. I'm not a big Mortal Kombat guy. I'm more of a Street Fighter 2 guy.
No, that's totally fair. But, that was a big one. It had Michael J. White and Jerry Ryan in it. Michael J. White as Jax, Jerry Ryan as Sonya Blade. And it was a big, dark, gritty reboot kind of fan film, which totally works because it's fucking Mortal Kombat, people die. And that kind of, it didn't quite become the original pitch of the fan film, but it got a similar tone as far as, the attitude. And they did a web series. They did a 2-season, pretty decent budgeted web series based around that called Mortal Kombat Legends. And so even if this doesn't turn into an official big budget film, 4 million views in 2 weeks ain't nothing to scoff at. I'm sure they can get enough attention to get something made from this. Fucking let me get a direct to DVD or a made for TV movie or Sony's probably got a streaming service they're trying to pump out, I think. Everyone else does these days. Make that have Sony make a Uncharted movie or something, right? I could see it. So it definitely works as a pitch. It gets people excited, keeps the property in mind without having to just milk the game to death. So I don't know. I really do hope something comes of this because Nathan Fillion's kind of perfect for this role. If not that, DCEU, as problematic as the whole thing's been, it's kind of been going for kind of older actors. I'll take an old Hal Jordan who's just spent the last 10 years in space and didn't know anything about what was happening on Earth. And we can get Nathan Fillion to do it.
That would be good. I'll take that.
Anyway, so there's just a lot with this that's really cool though, just outside of the politic kind of thing behind it, the Hollywood drama, if you will. How did the humor work for you? Because Uncharted, Nathan's as a character is known for his humor.
I gathered that, which is probably why he was chosen or wanted to do this type of character, so it did feel right at home. It lent to the fun. It definitely... Look, if this character wasn't funny, this would be pretty cut and dry boring type of stuff. Hey, there's these vague foreign bad guys who are rich, who want a thing, and the other hero is trying to stop them, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that would have been kind of cut and dry. This, I think, gave it... The sense of humor that this had gave it its personality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm a big believer in Jules' philosophy from Pulp Fiction that personality goes a long way.
Uh-huh, yeah. That's a good point. I really like the way all the jokes fly here, the fact that they kind of take it into physical humor as well, because Nathan Drake, as a character in the games, does all these crazy things, and he'll just talk and, reflect on how ridiculous this is. And, like so many games, okay, just go climb that mountain, and the character's like, all right. Nathan Drake's like, you gotta be kidding me. And we get that moment, when he's got to get out of the house and try to get past the guards without making it a big shootout right in the middle of the hallway, because it's the worst place for a shootout. And he's like, fuck, I gotta jump out the window, don't I? It's just that perfect look on his face. It's great. And I like that he takes it, but it's not without complaining. It's not like a Bond thing where he like just kind of brushes off. He's like, okay, out. Yep, that hurt. Like, he takes his time getting up and kind of, is really, really being sure to pat down the glass and all that stuff, which, I don't know, that little motion, that physical acting gets a little lost in the camera movement, but it's there, which just kind of makes it more natural, a little bit more perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I had a big laugh when he did that, actually. It's like, that's not how you do that. I mean, Jesus, that would fucking kill you. But I guess that is more of a video game kind of joke.
Right? I mean, you jump out a window. Like, I don't know, there's all kinds of things in the language of cinematic action, I guess you'd call it, of like, that's not how that works, but just we've seen it in so many movies that that's just the way things work in movies. So, like, people jump out windows and don't get glass in their throat. People get knocked out with like a gun in one hit and then wake up and they're perfectly lucid. No, if someone hits you in the head hard enough to knock you out, they've just given you a concussion. You're going to be pretty groggy and not really know what's going on by the time you wake up. And then, like, there's the one thing I've been waiting for anyone to do, and you're not allowed to take this one, Manos, because I swear I'm going to use it one year.
Sure.
I've been waiting for someone to, like, hit someone on the head with a gun in a movie, and for the person to just turn around and be really pissed off. Like, not to fall unconscious like you would think from every other movie, but to just turn around and be fucking livid. And then they gotta, like, actually use the gun to, like, shoot him in the head or something. They'd be like, why didn't you just start with that? It's like, I don't know, in the movies, you see it, they knock the guy out, and I thought it would work like that. So it's just one of those things. It's the language of cinematic action, and it doesn't make any sense. And that's what kind of makes, like, Nathan Drake being so, oh, well, fuck, I guess I gotta do this now. Let's hope it works out. Like, really, really charming and I don't know what the right, refreshing, I guess.
Yes, I would
feels
use
really
that.
Good. I also really liked his dynamic with Sully. Sully's another character from the games. He's Nathan Drake 30 years in the future kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just like, who never got out of this life of adventuring and tomb diving and all this stuff. And so he's like just this grizzled old man, always got a cigar in his mouth. So it was cool to see him in there, and their dynamic is just perfect. And like, he's even translated from the game in the exact same role that he always has, because Nathan's like this kind of genius archaeologist Indiana Jones type, but he needs someone to explain it all to, and so that's what Sully's there for, to ask the questions, and so the audience can get the answers. Mm-hmm. And really, it's exactly what it is. Like, oh man, no way. Do you know what this means? Kid, no one knows what you mean when you get like this. Hint, hint, that's for the audience. So yeah, it's pretty transparently written, but it's still really effective.
Yeah, that's fine. And I actually like the dynamic when he had all three characters, who I assume are always like in this series, with the woman. What was her name?
I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but yeah, she's introduced in the first game.
Okay. I like the fact that they all had something to contribute. Like, he had Nathan Fillion's character.
Yeah,
of course,
I'm sorry, that's very confusing. Nathan Fillion is playing the character Nathan Drake.
Okay. All right, Nate. Good. I was like,
yeah, I kept saying Nathan
right
Drake
thing?
and
Okay.
Nathan Fillion. Yeah, sorry.
All right. Anyway, Uncharted guy is, he's the one who, does the main action. He's a big, historian, but, she seemed to be a bit more of a detective because she spotted that little logo in there. And the other guy is grizzled.
Yeah.
So, they all worked out. I like that dichotomy in the scene.
Yeah, it's fun. It really makes you interested to see this spin off into something else, because it's like, it really is the prologue. Like, where it cuts, that's where you'd get, Uncharted, the movie kind of thing. Uncharted! Manos, you should call Nathan Fillion up and say, hey, I've got the theme for your Uncharted movie.
Oh,
I don't
let's
know
see.
what I'm going to use to open this. Like, I'm probably going to have to just fall back and use Indiana Jones in the opening song, but we'll see where we go.
Oh! Now have just me go Uncharted.
Feel like a James Bond thing.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Driving around in Jeeps, Uncharted.
I dig it, man. It'll work. That'll
Okay.
do.
Good. All right,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. What else is worth talking about with this one? We just need to fill a couple more minutes. You got anything off the top of your head we can go on to?
I really did like the bad guys a lot. I like the lead villain. I thought his acting was good. It's nice, the acting when we watch these fan films can be great or not great, and it's kind of relief when it's good. I enjoyed his villainy, and the fact that I don't know, he seemed pretty. I don't know. I want to say laid back, but pretty much confident, and I enjoyed that performance. Not overly evil.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you can tell he's just kind of more annoyed than anything.
Yeah.
He's like, you're funny. Let's try this again. Like, that's a really good turn. And, like, I love that, his method of intimidating him is to go get this fucking little scrawny looking guy. And it's just such like a unexpected turn, and it immediately, like, Nathan tries to laugh it off, and it just immediately bites him in the ass.
Well, yeah, you knew that guy was going to hurt him, but I really like the villain's matter of factness. It's like, you know what? I'm going to get this information or kill you.
Yep.
That's it. This is my job.
Mm-hmm.
When I applied at Evil Co.
Yeah, when I went to Evil Co, they said, "Hey, we're gonna need you to do this," and I was like, "All right, I'll try, boss." That was good. I love the shot of the shorter guy they get to come torture Nathan with. Like, it's just so cinematically hilarious that he's like half the size of this super intimidating dude we've been watching the whole time. And it's just like, oh man, that is unexpected.
I was sitting there wondering, like, okay, they're building this guy up, so he's not going to look like he typically should. What's he going to look like?
I was really interested to see if they're going to try to pull a character from the games or something, because Nathan Drake's got that whole thing of like, hey, I know this guy, and then they like shoot at him or something, right? It's like, hey, whoa. Like that whole thing's just part of his past. Mm-hmm. Because he's done all these things with all these seedy types. What else? I don't know. This, like, the villains were really well done, and I just want to see what the plot is. I really do want this to go on and be a thing. That'd be really cool. Mm-hmm. If this were a professional studio kind of movie or something, and starring Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and they didn't need to go too high in budget, and they didn't really abuse it. It looks really tight and professional for the sequence that we see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of vision, a lot of passion behind this, which is really cool. All right, well, let's go ahead and go on to ratings then. Why don't you go first? I'm curious where you're landing.
I really did enjoy it. I don't really have any complaints about this, and it would be great if this could spin off into an actual, real deal Uncharted project with Nathan Fillion, either film or TV series or web streaming. I don't know whatever we watch these days. Whatever. I liked it quite a bit, and I would give it. I'm gonna go all the way and go 5 out of 5 compasses. All right,
cool. I'm really tempted to go 5 out of 5 as well. There's just something where I'm like, I really liked it. I didn't like it like that much. I didn't think it was perfect, but I thought it was really, really good. So I'm just gonna go like a slight off, just on nothing but personal preference kind of thing, and do 4.5 out of 5 brass knuckles that completely changed the mood of the room. All right. Well, that was fun, Manos. What are we going to be talking about next time, though?
Yeah, I liked it. It was good. And I was thinking, I did a quick search online before we started doing this show, like always. And I wanted to see something a little bit different. So I chose something that was just posted a few days ago. Jurassic World Exodus, a Fallen Kingdom fan film.
Okay, here's the question.
Yes.
Do you think I should watch Fallen Kingdom before watching this fan film?
Well, I didn't, so...
Okay. Well, this will be an interesting review then. All right, everyone. Please join us next week for that one. Until then, I'm the Philosopher.
And I'm the Realist.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.